President Trump tonight looking to keep a campaign promise.
I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the federal Department of Education once and for all.
When black people were brought from Africa over here, forced to be here, they erased our culture from us. They took our religion away. They took our names away. They took our heritage, everything that related us to Africa. They took it away and replaced it with Western culture. That's what you're doing right now in education. When you look at the AP classes that are taught right now in the state of Florida, you have Chinese language and culture, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, and Spanish. But you can't have African American studies. I have a huge problem with this. And this is a course that was created as
To Wake students, to educators across the nation, to politicians, let me share the story of one university's journey to breaking barriers in African American studies history. And let me just say, it was a long time coming. I mean, why did it take till just 4 years ago to create this program at Wake? It's a good question. I hope that through the stories of some of these voices, you may understand how we can change the future for African American studies. The past informs the present, right? If you would, allow me to take you back to the summer of 1968, where the campus of Wake Forest simmered in more ways than one. John Minter, a freshman football player, had high hopes. On the field, he felt accepted. Off the field, that was a different game. One night, Minter sat with his African-American teammates in a South Campus lounge because, well, to address the elephant in the room, Wake was as white as ever in the late 60s. Curious, he asked about the fraternities. His upperclassmen teammates burst out in laughter. Senior quarterback Freddie Summers gave it to him straight. The social life here, we have nothing to do. We're not able to have our own parties, and we don't belong to the fraternities. The black and white social life is completely different. We party differently, and our general fun is different. Here, truly integrated social functions are not the answer to the black students' problem. It would not work because the southern whites would not know what it's about. At my home and the college I attended before coming here, there is a peaceful coexistence level, and the racism around here not evident there. Here, things are really bad. Minter swallowed hard. I was accepted by admissions, he thought. I'm here for my education and the team. Surely I will be accepted. Oh, what little did he know. That spring, Minter understood Summer's warning. Social life spun in closed circles, tailgates, secret societies, fraternities, and black students orbited on the outside. But one afternoon, in the corner of a lounge, he overheard something that sparked hope. Afro-American Society, Howard Stanbeck and Freeman Mark scribbled the name on a torn napkin. Minter introduced himself. From there, the Afro-American Society formed, a self-help group born from the need for community. Weeks later, Minter typed a bold letter to the school newspaper, outlining 5 demands. Fast forward to the late 60s and early 70s, when the Afro-American Society hosted events and lectures. Mary Frances Berry, Joseph Washington, Charles Hamilton, all voices amplifying black voices on campus. Black studies shouldn't just be a fringe subject, it must shape the liberal arts experience for all students, Charles Hamilton declared as he spoke to the lecture hall on a crisp March evening in 1973. But even with powerful words, the question lingered. Was it enough? Wake had just 35 black students in a sea of 2,500. Could real change come without a larger presence? By 1974, these pressures led to the hiring of Dr. Herman Urey and Dr. Dolly McPherson, the first full-time black professors at Wake Forest. A decade later, Mark Cave, a student leader, picked up the mantle. Frustrated by the lack of progress, he wrote, "We must accept that Wake is in the worst position to attract black students, but if we're serious, we need a black studies department." He and others in student government demanded more, an increase in black faculty, real recruitment efforts, and education that reflected all histories. In the 90s, Dr. McPherson continued pushing. An African American studies program still seemed distant, so she advocated for an American Ethnic Studies minor. It launched in 1996, a step forward, but not quite the destination. Many saw it as a compromise, an umbrella that included Black voices but didn't center them. The real work still was ahead. Then, in 2019, a spark returned. Dr. Corey D.B. Walker gave a lecture titled My Skin as Legacy. He traced Wake Forest roots directly back to slavery and white supremacy.
You can't have liberal arts unless you have Black studies, and that's at the core. So this argument has been made for decades. It took a precipitating act to really catalyze it here. But in many ways, that's how new knowledge is born in a university, these precipitating
You
acts.
can't separate this institution from its history. We must acknowledge, we must teach. Provost Michelle Gillespie sat in the audience, moved. She knew this was the person to lead what Wake had long needed. In 2020, Dr. Walker was hired. In 2021, African American Studies at Wake Forest became a reality. The first course, taught by Dr. Walker himself. Students like Jalen Spears finally found what had been missing. In AAS 100, he debated Black theology through the lens of Black Marxism. He left class each day, energized, curious, challenged, and seen. These conversations aren't happening anywhere else on campus. It fills the gap in our education. Jalen's classmate Olivia Snow agreed. Even as a white woman, I felt welcomed. It was uncomfortable, but in the right way. From dorm room conversations in 1968 to classrooms filled with critical dialogue in 2021, the journey to an African American Studies program at Wake Forest was not easy. It was forged through letters, lectures, protests, and patience. And though the program now stands, its story is not finished. Because progress, like history, is made one voice at a time. The power of enough voices can reverse the oversimplification and dismissal of African American studies, like it did at Wake Forest.